Hey, everybody. It is Congressman Jamie Raskin coming at you from Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District for my favorite time of the week, always local hero, when we get to celebrate and toast the people that are making life here so rich and wonderful. And today is Friday, June the 10th. And we have a wonderful local hero for you, Mark Eckstein, who is a Montgomery County dad living in Rockville. And he's a passionate advocate for the well-being and the rights of LGBTQ youth. He is the chair of, okay, check out this acronym, the MCCPTA LGBTQ Subcommittee, okay, which basically means he co-chairs the subcommittee within the Montgomery County PTA to work on issues relating to the LGBTQ population. He's also co-chair of Maryland Advocacy for Metro DC PFLAG. And he and his husband live in Rockville and have 2 kids attending MCPS. Over the last 5 years, he's been involved in work with MCPS leadership on ways to make the curriculum more affirming of LGBTQ experiences. And will tell us about some of the other things he's been doing. And I'm very excited that this will be our first installment for Pride Month. So Mark, for all of your great hard work within our schools and our community, we salute you as this week's local hero. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, and I really appreciate this.
So, you know, we've been reading about these horrific battles around the country, the Don't Say Gay laws in Florida and some other states. Real, you know, my subcommittee on civil rights and civil liberties has seen some just riveting and harrowing testimony from people who've basically been hounded out of their jobs if they're gay teachers, you know, just attacks on people's right to speak about who they are in the classroom. But I understand you've got some good news for us about what's been happening in Montgomery County, and we could certainly use some good news. So tell us about what you've been working on and what's going on in our schools.
Yes, great. So happy Pride Month. It's such a wonderful time of year to talk about these issues. And, you know, I think you laid it out really well in terms of the foundation. I mean, I think there's a lot of good that is happening, and but I think we have to look back just a tiny bit. And from what you mentioned, I think in Montgomery County and MCPS, I think we realized these issues that were kind of causing some of these negative things across the country, and really looked at ourselves and thought maybe we're being a little hypocritical because we aren't focusing on these issues. So again, I'll get into the positiveness in a second, but I think a few years ago, you know, the thought was, wow, you know, this Don't Say Gay and some of these things in the different states, that's really the lived experience of some of our teachers and our students and our parents. So I applaud MCPS and the county and all of your work to really move this forward. And the good news is that within our county and with our school system, you know, one major initiative that is going to be debuted this fall will be a curricular project in English literature to have an LGBTQ related lesson in each of our K through 8 classes. So that's amazing news. In some ways, it's like, wow, just one, you know, per year, but it's a start. And, you know, it's rare to see anything like this throughout the country, to believe it or not. The inclusion of LGBTQ experiences is just really not part of our curriculum within the public school. So that is just wonderful news, and that was a few years in the making, and just so many people working really hard to make that happen.
Yeah. So what has been your experience working for inclusion and recognition of diversity in our schools? I mean, I take it you haven't encountered the kind of hostility seen in some other places, like with Governor DeSantis in Florida, right? But I mean, well, what's your general experience of how our people are relating to these ideas?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think when I started this work, it was a little bit of a shock at how far maybe behind we were. And, you know, for such a progressive, my husband and I moved here from the West Coast, and the thought was, wow, this will just be an easy kind of transition. But there was something about this area that had not necessarily put a lot of focus into this part of inclusion. A lot of great areas that we've done some great work with in the county, but the LGBTQ kind of experiences, at least in MCPS over the years, really kind of was ignored. It was thought of in vague terms and generalities. And just in the last few years, I give credit to leadership to really digging in and finding ways to really affirm our staff and our students and our families beyond just trying to decrease bullying and the negative things. So going back to what you started the program with, just looking at those positive ways and those ways to affirm the community. And it's just, you can see it's just reaping so many rewards. I mean, the students, their wellness and just their general well-being, you can just see right off how this work really speaks to that and is great for all, especially as we all want achievement and learning in our district.
Yeah. Well, I know we've come a long way since about 25 years ago, maybe closer to 30 years ago now. I represented a group of high school students at Blair High School and a teacher who had a weekly cable debate show called Shades of Gray, and it got essentially censored by the school system because they had a debate about whether gay and lesbian people should have the right to get married. And that was seen as just unspeakably radical and transgressive, even to talk about it. And it was a debate between two conservatives and two liberals. And the school system thought it was too hot. We did get that reversed. We appealed it to the school board, and a lot of people watched it. But I think it's really important what you're doing because making our schools hospitable and open to everybody is more than just not discriminating. It's really affirmatively stating that we see people, we welcome people, and we incorporate everybody who's come to Montgomery County, which is such a magnificent, just mosaic of what America is like today. So look, we want to thank you for the great work that you're doing on behalf of your family and all the families of Montgomery County. It's really terrific. And thank you for bringing us the good news that we're making, big steps forward in terms of real inclusion in our county.
For sure. It's great to be here. And thank you for all your great work.
All right. That's Mark Eckstein, our local hero for June the 10th. And have a great week, everybody.